Hey, welcome to the podcast, Tara Lusk. Thank you so much for being here. Look, you're an expert, a seasoned professional in the affiliate marketing space, and I really wanted to speak to someone about affiliate marketing because there's two lenses you can look at affiliate marketing
Mhm.
through. Like there is the you can work up to the effect that where you can build content and then that content you start embedding affiliate links and start making money from them. I mean, that's a lot of that's what's been promoted online right now. If you type in affiliate marketing online, you're going to have a ton of gurus saying you can become a millionaire, quit your 9 to 5, like become an affiliate marketer, like just create content, promote these links and make money. But you've done it on the company side through a number of different companies, where it's kind of like you've taken that to the corporate level where, you've got big businesses out there that actually produce a lot of content. It doesn't always have to be like written content. It could be like,
Yeah.
those the likes of Credit Karma, Experian, those kind of places where they have a ton of affiliate links there, but their job, their sole purpose is to bring eyeballs and ears to their kind of hub where
Yeah.
there's a ton of affiliate links, right? And then there's the other side, which is like the outbound affiliate side, which is like
Mhm.
where you represent a product and then you're just trying to find a ton of affiliate partners, whether they be people, places, and things to actually promote the thing. So that's like
Yeah.
people don't always know this. So why don't I stop talking and you tell me a little bit about like your history, which lens you look at affiliate marketing through. Tara Lusk, man,
Yeah.
great to
Well,
have you on.
thank you for having me. But yeah, that's right. I've worked in the affiliate industry now for, I think, 5 or more than 5 years, about 8 years now. So I've worked on the tech side, all those platforms that sort of measure and track affiliate partnerships. But in my current role, I'm an affiliate manager, and that's obviously on the publisher side. It's a bit more different from when you're on the advertiser side. So as an affiliate manager on the publisher side, you really are sort of the point of contact for all the brands that want to work with whatever you're doing. So in my case, I'm working for equivalents to Dotdash and Hearst, the big media sort of companies. I'm doing that here in Australia. So companies that own a lot of different sort of titles. And yeah, we've really been growing affiliate marketing on the publisher side for a couple of years now. So, and seen a lot of success as a lot of big media companies do often when they enter the affiliate space.
Yeah, so like like so that's all about really positioning yourself as like the desirable, so that like these entities want to work with you. So like you create the demand, you're getting the eyeballs, you're getting the ears, people are consuming. And then based on those stats, you can now, do you actually do any outbound? Like, do you contact companies and say, hey, look, um, we have, this is what, these are our statistics. This is the kind of viewership that we can get. This is our reader base, or this is our, here's how many people come to our website. How much are you going to pay? how much are you going to pay us to be on here? Like there's upfront fees, there's commissions that,
Yeah.
I want pay on performance commissions on top of the upfront placement.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you do? Or do you do the outbound style like that? Or is it just all inbound?
Yeah, so I think like as I was saying with the big media companies, they've got such an advantage because they already have an audience, they already have readers and so much trust and authority. So, and a lot of them, they've traditionally always written about products. Fashion magazines have always recommended the best handbags and the best shoes and things to wear. So it's such a no-brainer to do affiliates. That said, where I am here in Australia, it is so far behind the US and the UK when it comes to affiliate marketing. So there still are a lot of brands that don't do it. I think, in my opinion, not every brand needs to do it, especially if their product is sold on those big marketplaces anyway. Like for instance, in the UK, I'm sure you've got Look Fantastic and the big sort of marketplaces. They will have affiliate programs. So I don't know if necessarily like every brand needs to also have their own affiliate program if they're also listed on those sites. But to answer your question, like absolutely yes, if there's brands that don't have affiliate programs that would be very well aligned and we know would sell with our audiences on the titles, then that's something I would do is the outreach and saying like, this is how we're working with other advertisers and affiliates. This is why you should too, and this is what you could expect if you did start working on affiliates.
Yeah, and see, like that response, like it's that's corporate level, but like what I want, if there's anyone like listening who's thinking, I want to become an affiliate marketer, I want to make money, those courses, gurus online where they talk about, and you have your own business, and because I'm kind of going to veer into that in a minute, beauty space, right? Because you kind of follow a similar model. It's like people are thinking about how they can produce, whether it's a web page or if it's a personal brand, they want to try and create an audience, whether it's an email list or just visits to a site, or whether it's like an audience, like an influencer. And then once they have that audience, they can then curate some listings, some affiliate links, essentially, that hopefully is aligned with, not just spamming, like hopefully is aligned with their brand. That works with them, and then actually make money from it, right? By directing subtly, not being the sellout, but subtly directing people into these products, right? So that's the job. That's the job from this lens of affiliate marketing. Like, and I know that you do this for corporates, but you also have your own site, which is not, I would say, a personal brand. I mean, it's easy to look at you and think, oh, you know what? You've got an affiliate company. I would assume that you have an influencer profile and you talk about beauty, but that's not what Beauty Space is. Beauty Space is more like the content websites that you're talking about. What made you go down that road?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. For the last 5 years, I've been building Beauty Space, and I've just been a one-woman show building that, and it is monetized through affiliate marketing, like predominantly. So I've gone back and forth over the years about how much I want to put my face on it and do a lot of that. And I think there's no question now that you have to sort of be the face of it as well. But I have really tried to, build a brand that's not just about me. But I do have the advantage that I can sort of be like an influencer and, manage the brand and run the site and everything. I think I always into doing it thinking maybe I could sell it one day, and I don't want to be too sort of intertwined with the success of, what Beauty Space is about. But I think you just can't get away with not sort of being the influencer.
I'm faced with the same challenges. I'm experimenting right now. Like, so my Instagram is my name, right? But then the podcast is like the Distro Boss Podcast, because I'm not the Distro Boss. The Distro Boss is you. The Distro Boss is everyone else who I'm interviewing, which is essentially the people who manage the outbound sales team. So whether it's like the relationships with affiliates and partners who sell stuff, or it's like you're working with content collaborators and stuff like that who produce content, these are essentially your salespeople, your external sales forces. So that's the whole idea. So I'm thinking I wanted to keep it separate. Because look, there's a case to be made for be your own brand, because people trust you first. They trust you before they'll trust a brand, right? Because a brand is nothing. Like, especially if you're a new brand, like they're going to think a lot of the times you can't associate an outcome with a new brand, right? If you think of McDonald's, Coca-Cola, I know what I'm getting when I think of them. Like Sony, if I'm thinking Apple, I know what I have I know exactly what the outcome will be, so I can attribute a sense of identity with that brand. But if it's just a new company name, like Distro Boss or Distro List, what does that mean to anyone? It's just a name. Oh, I put some nice colors on it. It doesn't mean anything. So it's like the only way I can kind of create some kind of real brand identity is really just me, personal brand, because then I can speak on it, I can talk about it. It's my identity. The brand now has a face, and it makes sense, and I go for the argument. But then equally, when you think about exiting and you think about selling, the last thing I want to have with somebody is a conversation, well, the business is really just you, and we can't, you know what I mean? So I'm like, no, I want them to buy the data, I want them to buy the asset, I want them to buy things, and for that I do need it to be tied to a business name. So it's one of those kind of like fork in the roads. It's like thinking about what your exit's going to be.
Exactly.
And then
I was just going to say, I think, with smaller bloggers like myself, at least you do have a somewhat advantage over these big media companies that are really still figuring out, traditional journalists, like all of a sudden they have to be influencers too. And that's a really big pivot and a transition. And I don't, that's a harder ship to turn. And when you're a small publisher and you're a small blogger, you've got more ability to pick up your phone and record a video and be the face and be the influencer and, you know, show a product and things. So I think that's such a big topic. And what frustrates a lot of small bloggers is that when we're talking about affiliates, a lot of time do these journalists and do the media companies even touch products that they recommend versus bloggers who can really, you know, demonstrate that they've got a lot of experience in a certain niche and, you know, hands-on testing and trying and reviewing products. So I just know there's a bit of friction between those two.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like if you think about like career advancement, even from a like we're talking about being like from the business side. Like so if you're like beauty space right now, like you've got this opportunity where you can drive traffic to it, you can build a list, you can position it for a sale because your email list is money. Like the
Yeah.
people who come to you, it translates directly into dollars, like that dollar value, because people are buying through your site. And so
Yeah.
if you don't have a name on it, it's easy to sell. It's quick. You can
Yeah.
easily capitalize on it. Like I have a list of 100,000 people. We have an average like sales closing rate of like 20% on any email that we send out, or click through rate of 20% with an overall 6% close rate on sales, averaging around $100. This is how much we make. So
Mhm.
that's the value of the business because we can
Yeah.
hit that list and grow it.
Yeah.
And so that in and of itself is very entrepreneurial. Well done, you. But also like, if you think about it, but then like, so how do you, so, but then when you start thinking about the personal brand, it's like, if you were in like corporate affiliate marketing, which is kind of where you sit right now, right?
Yeah.
If you did have your personal brand bigger and your personal brand was aligned with the companies that you were working for too, and
Mhm.
your relationships with products, brands, like you have a pre-existing, pre-cultivated, pre-nurtured database of relationships. So it's not, so when people are hiring you, they're not just hiring you anymore. They're hiring what you represent. They're hiring all of these contacts. It's kind of like where companies hire like top dog salespeople. You're not really buying the person, you're buying into the book that guy's bringing on. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, the book of
Exactly.
clients. Like, does that, can you see that working the same with affiliate marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just goes back to, you know, Australia is such a small affiliate marketing world and a small network. And I think, yeah, there is so much crossover between a lot of the you know, media, the company I work for, and my personal project, my personal site. So I think, yeah, absolutely. Like it's the same network. And I think that's really in both ways it's helped me with building those relationships with advertisers here. I think they trust me and they know like what I can deliver, and I think it's doing things. You can take a few things from corporate, you know, making a little media deck about yourself, making a little sales deck, like why they should work with you. I think if you really want to be successful doing it on your own, you've got to sort of adopt a lot of the sort of things that a big media company would be doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so if let's break down what like big media companies do, because this is important, because what the big companies do is what the little companies should be doing.
Yeah.
Because point like you know, one thing is I've looked at like affiliate marketing training programs. I
Hmm.
was like, let me understand a bit more about this space earlier on. And you know, a lot of what's happening is, you know, they'll talk about secrets and this and that. This is how you become an affiliate marketer. But then when you then pick up an old, dusty marketing and communications textbook, and they talk about like they have that one section of the book for, you know, about affiliate marketing or utilizing partners, and this is really for corporates and MBA like students. It's telling you the same stuff. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
you've got to focus on like your like they have like a diagram which is like focus on SEO, focus on email marketing campaigns, drip campaigns. Like you want to have these are your levels of communication.
Yeah.
Make sure you have copywriting in place, like have editors so you can like how much of like those things do you kind of incorporate? Like do you have to, it's like if you're thinking about like the day in the life of you,
Mhm.
and we can talk about what you do in your, I guess, your job, and then also what you translate or transfer into like beautyspace.com, your own business. Like what, how much do you actually carry over? Is it the same? Like do you do the same?
Yeah, I would say there's a few differences, but I would say very very similar. Like, you know, when we're talking about affiliate marketing and what that content looks like, up until very recently, and even still, it's all about targeting those shopping keywords and making shopping content. And so obviously a lot of the ways I've acquired traffic is the same. We're going after these keywords, for me, like best moisturizer, best serum, best hair shampoo, and things like that. That has always been such, an affiliate play, going after those keywords, because people have the highest, propensity to convert if you're actively looking for a product. And you intercept someone as they're searching for that product. It's such a different story than Facebook and social advertising, or targeting those channels, because people are generally browsing and they're looking for inspiration. They're not necessarily looking to buy something there and then, versus search and SEO. So I think, I don't know if you're following a lot what's happening in the SEO world as well, but it's definitely been a bit of a shake up with Google there.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a sec, because SEO, like, that's two really important things. And people, like, I shouldn't say people every time when I really just mean I, like, it's like I get myself like caught, because I only have so much time in the day as a solopreneur. It's like, or someone like I'm not a solopreneur anymore, but I have a bunch of people who are siloed with different things. But it's like when I first started out, it was like, okay, there's SEO and SEM, which is super important, because when you're writing, when someone's searching, right, SEO and SEM allow you to present your opportunity to them at the exact moment they are searching for the exact thing or solution they're searching for. So that's why I think that's like the king, and it remains the king. It's why Google's the biggest, right? And then you have like social, which is, okay, you might be interested in this stuff. Let me throw stuff at you. Let me intrigue you with like things that I know you're interested in. So beauty, this, that, the other, and maybe I can influence you into buying into something, which works not equally as good, but very well too. Because one is like really focusing in the moment when the need is present, and the other is like, do you have a problem? Do you think you might want a solution that would go down this road? So it's like, and then obviously there's a lot of like incentive to go down the social media route. I just do that, well, because it's more fun, because SEO is kind of boring. like
that's
keywords and
it is. And it's like, I think that's kind of why Google did shake things up a lot, is because I guess they were kind of trying to, if we're all talking about the same products and we've all got recommending the top 10 products, like, I think it just was getting so competitive. So there was definitely a big shake up on that. But I think, talking about social, I think that goes back to big media companies and their value, because they've got trained journalists who know how to write headlines and content that has naturally, been clickbait, and it's been really eye-catching and would make you stop scrolling if you're going through your Facebook feed. So I think they do have such an advantage when it comes to writing that content. They're trained journalists, they've worked in media, they understand what sort of gets eyeballs and gets clicks. But I think everyone's still figuring out what's the future for those lower funnel, ready to convert on the best moisturizer sort of lists. But yeah, I think that's not to say that people don't convert through social. It's just a different type of article and a different sort of keyword or structure to an article we'd be talking about.
Yeah, but like, how do you get like I'm getting peeved off with like some of that stuff, because you're right, like people are getting really good. It's like, okay, if you go back 10 years, people were like, oh, copywriting's important, having a good headline's important, talking about things, being your personal brand. You could talk about something and kind of bring attention to it by having a catchy headline. Then it kind of moved into like the meme, thing. Like we used to like, let's have like that clickbait memes, that kind of thing to get people in. But it's like almost, over the last like 5 years, I think maybe COVID really pushed this into action. Like, you've got a lot of like seasoned professionals now that have entered the space, and they've taken like extremely high qualified, highly experienced professionals in the space off copywriting, i.e. the media personalities that you're talking about, who really know how to dress up a sentence, who know how to tap into fear, who know how
Yeah.
to tap into greed, who know how to put into the fear of loss, or fear of missing out, or some kind of like called a hero's journey call or something. Like they know how to trigger certain emotions in you to like pay attention to a certain headline, and then they know how to also structure the content. We're sitting here trying to figure out hook, story, offer, attention, AIDA, right? Attention, interest, desire, action, which as a novice trying to figure out how to write an article. Well, these guys can pump them out fast. Now you've got AI.
Yes.
Now you've got AI, because I don't even write stuff properly anymore. Like the amount of times I just I'll brain dump something onto a Google Doc, and then I'll dump it into Chat GPT and make that make sense.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me.
Yeah.
How I think that's changing everything with
It
SEO.
is.
I can
Yeah.
only imagine, because, and I'll backtrack, because I feel like I'm trying to make a point, but I need to give it more meat. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many good people now in play who are producing high quality content that is designed to get people's attention and drive them into a buying decision. Okay, that's one. But then there's like all the old tricks and strategies with SEO, which is like produce a boatload of content that's relevant online. So back in the days when you used to have those like, and I've been part of this world where you have like those websites where you start writing in white on the white to add a boatload of extra keywords.
Yeah.
Like that was back then. You mean that got hammered, but like it worked for a while. And believe you me, if it worked, it worked. And if you could make money off it, you would, right? People would come to you more, you get higher ranking. But like now, so that shifted to high quality content. Google can define that. And now you have AI. And so now you have these content farms, and they're just churning out this stuff like just constantly. What do you do with that? I don't even know how is that now changing everything?
Yeah. Well, I think that's exactly how Google's responded in the last, I think even 9 months. They've released, several updates which have really gone after like small publishers like myself, and rewarded the big media companies. I mean, most of them have gone unscathed and probably, taken a lot of placements. But like just from my own knowledge and experience, I think, and what I'm seeing at the moment is that not even the big media companies, I think, are going to be unscathed. The search results are starting to look more like competing against advertisers. So instead of, a traditional, big publisher in the search results for those top positions, you're going to start seeing more of like Amazon and the big e-com sites in those places, and Reddit, of course. So I think, I can even say like from that perspective, they're not completely unscathed from what's going to happen, but it's, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I don't know what's going to happen to affiliate and the SEO and the world of that's always gone really hand in hand and really led to such, high conversion. And so I can say all these big media companies have invested a lot into content commerce and affiliates and growing out these teams of like shopping writers. So we'll see what happens.
Because I think that's the fail safe. Like affiliate marketing, whether it's through like content websites where in the position that you're in, or whether it's through on the other side of affiliate marketing, like basically roping in somebody else, whether it's a person or a place, like another site that has access to the customer groups that you want, by collaborating with them to access your customer groups to sell the thing that you're trying to sell. Like, I feel like that's the workaround, because, Google's going to look after the people that pay them the most. All right. So it's like, you talk about corporate brands, like, I mean, this is what happened the last few times that we had the Google slap, right? Which is like, like, and now we've got the Facebook slap too, by the way. It's like even just ads on, like, because my ads have just gone through the roof, like the cost per ad. Like, I'm like, hang on a sec, that used to cost me, that lead used to cost me $1.50 per lead. Like now I'm paying like almost $25 for the same quality lead. I'm like, I need to increase my prices. Like, it's like, because this is becoming more expensive. It's like, because they're just, bumping up the prices everywhere. But okay, so with Google, like, and SEO, it's so important, but I feel like the backup for the smaller entrepreneur is to have the collaborations, because that's a way more human focused opportunity that you're
Yeah.
pursuing then, because you're now working with somebody. Like I'm selling, if I have a beauty product, it's
Yeah.
I have more success contacting you and say, hey
Mhm.
Tara, look, let me sell you on why this idea is good. Can we
Yeah.
collaborate? Can you send it to your list? Because that
Yeah.
now I'm directly accessing your list, right?
Yeah.
You have a relationship with your list. They already know and like and trust you, right?
Yeah.
So there's a higher probability for me to make sales with that kind of an interaction. And again, equally for you to qualify products, company like brands like me, if that was the
Exactly.
case.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's why I really hope that small publishers don't get completely cut out of the SEO game and the affiliate game. It would be a shame because you do have people who are such experts in their niches and they really are so passionate about the products they try and review. And, you know, it's not just me, it's about people who have all sorts of like sports niches and, you know, all sorts of things. They're super passionate about it. And it would just be a shame to just have, you know, big media companies who you wonder if they even test and try any of the products that they recommend. So I really hope that in the future there's still a place for small publishers, independent publishers.
I'm starting to I mean I'm starting to see a shift to, like, when I say more human focused, there's what I just explained, but there's like
Mm.
people are going back to like more event stuff now,
Okay.
like getting people together, like
Yeah.
whether it's a seminar, whether it's
Yeah.
like you know, expos or mini events. Like it's almost like I'm and this is like I haven't read anything about this. I'm just kind of I'm making this is kind of like me just kind of looking at the situation and I'm kind of reading it for whatever I can read it for, right? But I'm starting to see, because there's so much going on in like we're talking about Google SEO and Facebook
Mm.
with how they're
Yeah.
changing the pricing. These are all the ways we became accustomed to market towards an ideal target buyer group, right?
Yeah.
But it's and if we kind of track, what I'm noticing is that a lot of people, and you might notice it yourself, like people that normally it would be, you go 5 years ago, it was like everything was like online, social media profile, look how content, they're creating a ton of content, lots of catchy titles, better quality videos, better quality posts. Like it was just more and more and more, like everyone's kind of leveling out to be like a professional videographer now.
Yeah.
Where what's happening I see now is like, okay, let's take people off the platform and bring them
Mhm.
into an actual space. It's almost becoming local again. It's like it's going from this global opportunity where you can be accessible anywhere to now like, okay, we have an event at this place, this location, whoever can make it can make it. Because the
Yeah.
people that arrive at that spot can essentially, you can sell to them better, because that's really a more human focused kind of
Yeah.
relationship, because you're
Yeah.
now belly to belly in that sense. It's why I see like companies like, have you seen even like the network marketing businesses like Herbalife? They haven't gone anywhere. Like these
Yeah.
MLMs, they're like alive and well. I just looked
Yeah.
at some stats recently. Like, was it 6.4 million network marketers with Amway, 4.5 with 4.5 million active distributors with Herbalife in the US? That's a lot of people
Yeah.
who are actively promoting stuff, and then trying to build brands, personal brands on Instagram and various other platforms to draw people into their cult, their tribe, like their tribe, to like kind of bring, I mean, a cult, I mean it's kind of cultish, but it's more like let's take the stress off the word, let's call it a tribe,
Yeah.
right? So they're bringing people into the tribe, but then they kind of like back end sell the products in, but it's like they're able to do that belly to belly. And I think that's happening a lot more in every area of sales right now. It's like, okay, let's get off the Zoom, let's get off the
Mhm.
social platform, let's get off the content. Even though we need it, we're going to have to maintain certain um like a routine of like making sure we do produce the content, we
Yeah.
do produce the videos, we do produce the branding, but like, let's just get people in a room because we can sell them
Yeah.
better, because there's way too many bots out there. There's way too many people who've like
Saturated as
figured
well.
out how to do good videos.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's interesting. And how do they track their affiliate partnerships? I mean, if they're selling, like, how do they?
Coupons.
Okay, with coupons, interesting.
I think that's like,
Yeah,
it's like it's new technology, but with like old. It's like, okay,
Yes.
there's an affiliate link, but an affiliate link is just the upgraded version of the coupon, right? But now you
Yeah.
can go back to coupons with the infrastructure of an affiliate platform.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm like, okay, that works. It worked
Yeah.
before. It will work now too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, and then each coupon is coded,
Yeah.
and so it
Unique to
tracks.
those
Yeah,
influencers. So, yeah. Okay.
like events, like even
Yeah.
with like beauty space,
Mm.
like with what you're doing. I'm looking at your website. I'm like, like how would that translate if you had an event? Like if you set up, because you've worked with events before, right? You've set up like that kind of stuff with companies that you've worked for, right?
From one of my previous companies, but yeah, I don't personally hold events for
Yeah.
beauty space. It's definitely an online space, a beauty
Yeah,
space.
yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I'm like, but what if? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying what if?
Yeah, I mean, there's
Like if
like
you
I would never
curated
say no.
products,
Yeah, I would never say no. I think I don't know if different to the UK, but the geography of Australia is very spread
well, there
out.
is
So I
that.
think that's the real disadvantage that we have is that there's like two clusters of cities and one's Sydney and one's Melbourne. And even that, everyone's pretty spread out. So there's always an advantage of doing things online.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I would never say no to bringing people, around to an event
See,
and doing something, collaborating with an advertiser for sure.
yeah, now we're so you're right, because now we're going back to the reasons why the internet won in the first place, which was
Yeah.
geography, right? So it's like, but I can see the shift though. I'm watching it. I'm seeing like a lot more people heading down this road,
Yeah.
because I guess it's the only way for them to maintain a level of income that they're accustomed to. Because
Yes.
it's like, okay, how do I step away from, I can't win in this race. I'm up
Yeah.
against, it's almost like the stock market, like you're trying to beat the stocks. It's like, I cannot keep up with Google. All I can
Yeah.
do is ride on their coattails. And if the big behemoths are just pushing everyone else out the way, and there's no way I can spend, $10,000 this month
Yeah.
on 5 different copywriters, just a couple of videographers, and
Yeah.
have push content out there and just not make a dent.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting at. It's like,
Yeah.
so should I spend 10,000 just promoting an event?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I think it's like, yeah, with a publisher, I mean, of course we want to sell things. Of course, we're in affiliates now and then, but it's not, not always about selling something. Where like an
yeah.
advertiser, you want to sell stuff all the time.
Mm.
But I think a publisher, we talk about many different sort of topics. We talk about how to change your skincare routine for winter, and really, I think the another great learning I've had from my working for a big media company is to focus on like an audience and like building an audience and servicing that audience through your content and writing about things that would really interest them, and they're thinking about and they're talking about whether or not you're selling a product. So I think that's definitely the direction I'm trying to take beauty space. I've like to date, I'm an affiliate marketer, so it's been a very strong affiliate strategy. But now I'm sort of pivoting to writing about what I think my audience would like, regardless of not if there's a product involved with that.
See, that's all right. Let's talk about that, because that's
Mm.
really, I think, for all those people out there who are looking at these like gurus online, like how you make money, become an affiliate marketer, make money, quit your 9 to 5,
Yeah.
just post
Which
on Pinterest.
I've done all those courses. I've looked at all those SEO, do it, all those courses, I've done them. So
Yeah. Well, this is okay. So like, what would be, if you were to like give advice to someone who wanted to follow in your footsteps, which I assume are millions of people, because the keyword, like the analytics for those words are crazy high. Like
yeah,
there are tons of people looking like, how do I quit my 9 to 5 and become an affiliate manager, marketer, I mean. And it's like, how do I create a blog? How do I create a site? How do I create a personal brand? What do I do? If you were to kind of work someone through, not your steps, like you didn't necessarily have to give away your secret sauce, but like
yeah,
if you were to give advice on the topic, like, okay, if you wanted to do this, to create an opportunity like beauty space, this is
mhm,
what it involves. This is what's
yeah,
required of you. You've got to create content without the expectation of like earning money off that content immediately. The content itself has to be the product, and then blah blah blah. Like, what would you say the steps are?
yeah. I would say that exactly what I have said would be my biggest, I guess, regret to date would be not building enough content that was about what my audience, you've got to think of a reason, like, why would they come to you? Like, if Google disappears tomorrow, like, are they going to come to you? It's about, building a brand, and are they searching for your brand as well? So I think, yeah, it's about really trying to understand like who you're trying to speak to and what their problems are, and servicing that through content. And also, I think finding channels that work and how to reach them. I can't say like I'm perfect in doing this yet. I'm still figuring it out, like what that's going to look like. But for me as well, I've definitely pivoted a lot to Pinterest, which fortunately that works really well for my niche in beauty. Perfect. It's where you go to get a lot of inspiration. So yeah, I think figuring out those channels, and I keep hearing as well, like build a brand. Like no one is going to become Vogue overnight. Like that takes a lot. That took, years to build up that authority, and like they're a household name, and I'm not going to become Vogue overnight. But it is taking sort of like small steps you can to build the brand and see if people are actually searching for your brand name, and having like a distinct voice and tone in the way you're writing to your audience. And I think as well, like if you look at my site, there is also a distinct look to it. There is like high quality, professional looking photos. And I do try and replicate what I love, which is like the luxury magazines and fashion and beauty magazines, onto my site. So I think it's about those things really defining like what your brand is if you took Google out of the picture.
Yeah. So it's like really, it's like creating the brand that you want to build, right? So it's like with the end in mind. Like I'm not Vogue, but I'm working to this effect, and I know it's going to take time. So put the quality content out there, focus on that, and start writing in a way that differentiates yourself. So you're talking about taking a position, taking a stance, right? I'm not going to sit on the fence because no one cares about those people who are saying yes and yes to everything. It's like you want to say, well, we have a philosophy, and like I see a lot of companies like, okay, we are only going to talk about paraben-free stuff, or we're only going to talk about something that's like purely organic, or something that everything has to have sunscreen in it. I don't know, like because there's like an underlying message, like an underlying or kid safe. Like it, like I don't know, like it could be like you have to have almost like this underlying message that kind of everything is running to. So you could talk about different topics, but that's the thing that really people identify with your brand that you're building with your site, right?
Yeah,
I think that could be could be
as well. Yeah, just understanding like what's going on with your audience. I've really tried to think more about that recently. You look, I'm sure similar in the UK, like if the economy isn't doing so well, write more about affordable products that your audience might be searching for. So I think, it's just doing things like that are way more in tune with the people that you are trying to speak to.
I feel like that, like this goes back to the old avatar, right? Like picking your dream customer, your avatar. You're like, who's your ideal buyer persona? Like, really figure that out. I mean, the amount of times, look, I've written about it. I've told people to do this, and even I fall flat on my face and don't do it properly. I talk about it intellectually. I know it makes in perfect sense, but whenever I'm lost, this is what I have to come back to. And it is really just finding out who am I trying to sell to? What is that person's name? How old are they? Where do they live? How much money do they make? If this economic thing happened, how would they be affected by this? Because now I know what to write, right?
Yeah.
If like, does Google's SEO even bother these people? Like, is because otherwise there's no point writing about it. Like, write about something that they care about, like they give a shit about, like because you know who it is, right?
Yeah.
But it's, I tell people to do it, but I don't even do it myself. Like I do it myself, but then I'll pivot. My company will pivot, and then I don't make the new one, and then I get lost. And then I get lost with my marketing until someone slaps me on the back of the head and says, "Who's your avatar for this?" Like, damn it, I didn't do it. I didn't make a new version. When we had to do the pivot. So it's like, and whenever I've done that, it fixes things.
Yes,
it fixes it because then I know what to write. I know what to say.
I feel like we get very excited about things, And then it's kind of like, are your audience excited by that? You know, it's are they actually interested? Are they going to buy that? Are they going to read that? So I think, yeah, exactly. You've got to really sort of define that. And that's where I really, as I was saying, that big media companies, they're experts in this. They've been doing this since they've, since they've been ongoing. So they just have such a strong understanding of like who their audience, and they spend a lot of money in like researching their audiences too, you know. So
They have a whole department,
yeah,
multiple
exactly.
departments, and
Um,
marketing agencies on the side that
exactly.
they pay to come back with this stuff and provide
Yeah,
analytics and reports. And
yeah,
it's like, what the hell?
exactly. Which,
How are you
yeah,
going to compete with that?
yeah, exactly. So I think, as you know, if you're trying to build your own brand, you build your own site or whatever, like, you know, do a little bit of research into the type of people that
Yeah.
you're trying to target.
Because I mean, I'm going back to those reports that you get. Like I've seen them. They'll come back to you with like, here, we have 19 billion data points that we've basically matched against. And this is our perfect persona. So this is basically
Yeah.
who I'm like, well, I did a doodle
Yeah.
with like 6 bullet points. You have how many data points? 19 billion. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yes.
That's, I'm up against it. Like because
Yeah.
they know they have resource, don't they? That's what it comes down
Yeah.
to. But that isn't to say that the persona isn't like the most valuable thing in your arsenal, because I think it is, especially when you're curating, like in your situation where you're curating multiple products as
Yeah.
offers. And you're never going to be stuck with one set of products. That you're constantly looking for new stuff, right? So it's
Yeah.
like that everything really has to be in line with what that avatar wants, with what that persona is looking for at the time, right? But equally, if you're creating your own product, now you know what it is that you think they'll want. The best thing to do is obviously survey them, right? Like the best way to start a business, right? Build an audience, then ask them what they want, and then sell it to them. Right? Right? There is that one, right? Like
Yeah.
do the old surveys. Like,
Yeah. I
have you
think
ever tried that? Just hitting your list up with like,
oh,
like, but subtly asking.
I have thought about that more recently. So maybe I will try it and figure out, because maybe I'm completely off, you know, in terms of what they're after. I think, you know, going back, there is a component that I am trying to, you know, I run a blog. I'm trying to also talk about myself and like, you know, the beauty treatments I do and the products I use. So there is like that element of being the influencer and the face of the brand and talking about yourself. But also, yeah, really understanding what other people might be interested and why they're coming to your site.
Yeah. Okay. And I think last question, you have a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have your day job where you're doing all this stuff at like the higher level, but then you
Yeah.
have this business on the side.
Yeah.
Your business on the side is successful. This is important for people to understand. How much work do you put on your side business? Like how much is it a ton, or you're like, no, I put out one piece of content per week. I do it in my spare time. Like what does your side hustle actually require from you in terms of time and commitment before you, I mean, you can put 100% into anything, like, but it's like
Yeah.
right now it's currently the thing that goes on the side. How's
Mm-hmm.
that working for you? And because that's what people could do with some information on.
Yeah. It's a lot of time.
Okay.
It's like, you know, an hour before work in the morning. It's good, maybe an hour when I get home from work. And then it's probably a whole day on the weekend, and maybe both days on the weekend. It's really depending on like what I've got going on on the
So
side. Like,
2 hours per day plus a day in the weekend. I mean, that's a good sales pitch.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think, yeah, why going back to the whole like why people get into affiliates and running their own side hustles is like, yeah, if you want to, you can spend your time however you want. But I think a lot of people have found that if you can get a little bit of return on what you're doing in your side hustle, like, you know, that's awesome. And you can, I just think, yeah, it definitely pays off.
Yeah.
Spending that time, you could do nothing, or you can do the side hustle, and it pays off.
But it's important to make sure the content is aligned. Otherwise, you could just be doing a lot of hard work for nothing, right?
Yeah, I've learned that over the years as well, like starting new projects and on the site, on Beauty Space as well. Like I'm not really like a super technical person. So some things have just taken me so long to sort of figure out. I'm glad I did them because now I've learned how to do certain things. But yeah, it's like I would just love to just create the content, and then I spend a lot of time like figuring out technical things in WordPress. So I think that's just the nature of running it on your own, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. As you know, when you're an entrepreneur, like everything, the buck stops with you. Like
Yeah.
you want to start, you know, if you make a bad decision, and it's not necessarily a bad decision, like the amount of times like I've done it before, like I'll
Mm.
have conversations like this, like a podcast that we're having right now, which is about affiliate marketing, which is about selling, which is about making money from online platforms. This is the kind of conversation that I really like having. But that doesn't mean that I haven't had conversations with other people where the conversation has been entirely about AI, as if I was a coder and I have no business speaking about the subject. And it
Yeah.
did nothing for my business. But it was just, it was an interesting hour. But like, I'm like, that's got nothing to do with any part of my business for real. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just curious. And it's like, but I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't have the luxury of doing that and speaking about everything and anything. Like, I have to stay aligned with what it is that I
Yeah.
work on. And
Yeah.
that's important. Because even I've made that mistake because it's easy. It's easy to write about cool stuff or create cool content, because if you're in the content business, you can go in so many different directions because you're going to be pulled in so many different directions. You're not really just
Yeah.
focusing on one thing,
Exactly.
because you're trying to be creative. Um,
Yeah. Well, I think it's definitely in my side hustle, I get to be creative, and in my job, I'm very commercial. It's about getting the best payment, getting the best compensation for it. It's so much easier when you're a big media company. You've got so much authority, you've got so much sway with these brands. They want to be on your side. So it's really about protecting those brands and making sure that for any other advertiser that we mention in our content, that we do get the best commercial deal from that. So yeah, that's really how my both worlds kind of look on a day-to-day basis.
got it.
Yeah.
Well, Tara, thank you for sharing your insights. From through the lens of someone who works on both sides, like where you
Yeah.
are working in the corporate. And this is why I really want to speak to you about it, because I've had conversations with affiliate marketer wannabes, like
Hmm.
people who want to be, who've seen the gurus, who've read
Yeah.
the books, who've downloaded the courses, watched the YouTube videos, and I'm going to
Yeah.
quit my job and I'm going to
Yeah.
sell X, right? And it doesn't work out so great. But like I said, it was really important for me to have this conversation with people who work within structured organizations that are very good at this, that have
Yes.
figured it out
Yeah.
and have made millions and will continue to make millions and
Exactly.
don't get affected by the Google slaps. So this is important. So thank you for
Yeah.
taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you.